Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. The conversation we don't want to have about Biafra. The conversation we don't want to have about Biafra. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. 14 years ago, when I was a 19-year-old fresher at the University of Hull, I met Ife. She was at that time probably the most beautiful girl I had ever set my eyes on. I immediately tripped, hit my head and went into an infatuation coma. Ife was the quintessential social butterfly. Witty, friendly, distinctly intelligent and culturally Nigerian, with a few notable modifications like a South London accent and a slight tomboy streak. I think my eyeballs actually turned into heart emojis every time I saw her. And within a week of starting university, my mission in life was to get Ife to be my girlfriend. The problem was, it didn't matter how much time and attention I dedicated to her, Ife was not interested in me. We were very good friends, but as time went on, it became clear to my great dismay that she and I, as an item, was just never going to happen. Eventually, I gave up on Ife and retired to lick my metaphorical wound, completely assured in my 19-year-old wisdom that I would never love again. Then one day, I happened to stumble into a conversation with our larger group of Nigerian friends about what brought their families to the UK. Unlike the others, I was not an immigrant, so as a full fee paying international student, I was effectively not part of the conversation. Our friends with names like Timileyin and Tunde all had similar stories. Born in Nigeria, parents wanted more out of life, family moved to the UK. It didn't occur to me or anyone that Ife, normally the life of the party, was not talking. Then Ife spoke. She was also born in Nigeria, Kaduna to be precise, and she lived there until 2000. That year, a religious crisis broke out in the city, and the Hausa natives embarked on a frenzied pogrom of their Igbo neighbors. According to her, a Mercedes-Benz lorry filled with the dead bodies of slaughtered Igbo people was dispatched from Kaduna to Onitsha. Ife and her family had to hide from their neighbors whom they grew up with, until her dad was able to sneak them out of Kaduna on a flight to London with nothing more than the clothes on their backs. That was her immigrant story. When she finished her story, a kind of dead silence followed as our small group of 17 to 20-year-olds tried to process probably the heaviest thing our ears had ever listened to. Suddenly, I understood why Ife would never be interested in me. Despite seemingly sharing every interest and identify in common, we came from two different worlds. I came from a Nigerian that I spoke of with pride, based on a privileged background and a Lagos centric worldview. She also came from Nigeria, but her Nigeria was a place of fear, darkness, and dread, where the children you grew up playing upscotch with could at a moment's notice become your executioners for an offense none of you understood. I remember hearing of the cops field truck incident in Onisha as an 11-year-old, but it seemed as distant to me as the bombing in Lebanon, Kaduna, and other exotic places like that. Like that were just names I had in news. Listening to Ife's story was the first time any of it felt real. It was the first time the word Igbo, pejoratively thrown around in Lagos as a sort of light-hearted insult, took on a new meaning to me. It was the start of my struggle to engage with the word Biafra. Prior to meeting Ife and a number of friends whose experience in Nigeria substantially broadened my worldview, my only knowledge of the Biafran War was a book called Soldier Boy by Kentaro Wiwa, which I found in the family library. The book was written from the point of view of a barely pubescent protagonist thrust into a war he did not understand and forced to witness acts of incredible violence. He returns home at the end of the war, only to discover that his entitled innocent sweetheart now as a child conceived through rape. Amid all the death and carnage, this for him is the biggest tragedy of the war. I grew up thinking of the Biafran War as this huge, avoidable playground fight between two sets of silly boys who have now learnt their lessons. My parents, like many other Nigerian parents, hardly ever spoke about the war. Occasionally, when someone like Ralph Wazurike, the masob leader, appeared on the news, one of them would drop a dismissive comment about Omohibu, and that would be that. To my dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section and let us know what your view is